Hey, welcome in everybody to episode number 3 of the Justapod podcast. My name is Craig Bowen, and for the first time in 30 years, I can say these words: Kaukauna boys basketball has a new head coach, and he's sitting to my left, right here, head coach Ryan Bowers. Thanks a lot for joining me a day after Thanksgiving. Hope your Thanksgiving was well as everybody else out there. Hopefully it was great.
It was awesome. Thank you.
You bet. So let's talk a little bit about this program. And first question is pretty obvious. Your thoughts on taking over for your mentor, Mike Schalow. 585 wins total in his career, 482 of them right here. You played for the man. You coached under him. You basically take over his job more or less here, teaching physical education at the high school. Same office. Very clean transition, but just give us your initial thoughts on taking over for Coach Schalow.
First of all, it's a complete honor, and very thankful to the school district to give us this chance. It's not just me; it's the program with the alumni, and John Van Wettering, who's also played for Coach Schalow, being the head varsity assistant, and then our two other coaches, Coach Jed Wabney, Logan. He played for Coach Schalow, and I've also coached Logan. He'll be our JV1 head coach, and then our JV2 head coach will be Eric Carl, who also played for Coach Schalow, and I coached him as well. And both those guys being state champs, but giving us the opportunity as a program to continue this rich tradition that Coach Schalow has established here at Kaukauna is instrumental, and we're really grateful for that.
Yeah, I love how you bring some of the old guys back, really, guys that know the system, they know how to win, and don't see a whole lot changing here. I think that might be one of the questions that people might say, so how's Coach Bowers going to maybe be a little bit different than Coach Schalow? I know one thing. There's going to be a lot of three-point shots still. No worries there. There's going to be transition basketball. We know that's not going to change, but maybe give us a couple subtle changes. Maybe that you're not the same guy as Coach Schalow. Let's face it. Everybody's their own person. But maybe talk about how this program will look moving forward.
Well, at the end of the day, I've been a part of this program for many years, having started way back in college when I started coaching the 7th and 8th grade level, and got into the high school and coached for 3 years, I believe it was, for freshmen and JV head coach, and then the last 11 years as varsity assistant. And so in that time, you recognize that change is happening every year, and having been a part of that change and seeing where it's going is important. Coaching high school basketball, you're not guaranteed the same team every year. You're going to lose your seniors. You have new kids come in, and the biggest thing I've learned through Coach Schalow is how do you adapt to the players you have? How do you put them in a position to be successful? And by doing those things, hopefully, success comes from that.
And you look at this roster, and you look at what you guys did last year: 23-4 overall, 16-2. You win the very rugged, probably one of the best, if not the best, conferences in the state, Fox Valley Association, of course. Let's talk about what you lost. You just mentioned kids graduate, right? You got to figure out how to replace 24.5 points. Keegan Van Kauwenberg, almost 5 rebounds as well. He moves on to UW Green Bay. Another big man that was instrumental last year, 11.5 points per game, Caden Graff, and then Brody McMullen. Those 3 graduate, but as is the norm here at Kaukauna, the cupboard's not empty. And I'm going to start with one of my favorite players in your program, and I think it's because he's more old school than new school, and that's because he's a big post player. And we know about how the post game has changed over the years. There's not much of it anymore. But for Andrew Jensen, talk about him. He's a DePaul commit now. He's got that out of the way. He's going to play for the Blue Demons next year. 17 points, almost 11 rebounds. Talk about his skill set and really how your team is going to kind of build around him probably this year.
Yeah, Andrew's really a huge piece for us. He impacts the game on both ends of the floor. His rim protection on the defensive end, obviously just getting rebounds for us, but then offensively, around the rim, being able to make things a little bit easier and scoring the basketball. His face-up game's become a lot better this offseason. I know that's one thing he's been working on because he knows he needs that for the next level. But the most important thing, I think, we talk about all those things, is ultimately his voice and leadership has been tremendous all summer and fall. And we look forward to seeing that carry through throughout the season, because this team will need that from him.
Yeah, very athletic kid, great size. What is he, 6'9" or so? Yeah. He can really do a lot of damage on both ends. And he likes to dunk the ball too, by the way, and I like that as a broadcaster. I can talk about his two-handed jams and a lot of other things that he does on the basketball court. But let's move into a guard position. I think this kid right here, Jonah Rohrig, I'm talking about, senior, 3-year varsity performer. I think he takes over the role of Keegan Van Kauwenberg to a certain extent. He's going to get a lot more volume of shots. But talk about Jonah's game and how he can complement Andrew from the inside outside.
Yeah, we're really proud of Jonah. You know, when Jonah came in as a freshman in high school, he's pretty much a catch and shoot kind of kid. But he has really evolved his game, being able to put it on the deck and get to the rim and create for others, create for himself more than just having others create for him. And that showed through this summer and fall, and we're really excited about that piece of it. The biggest thing that we're recognizing is that Jonah brings a calming demeanor to our team this year, especially those guys who are stepping into new varsity roles and allowing them to be more comfortable on the floor. He's got that impact, and we're excited for him.
Yeah, almost 10 points a game for Jonah, and I think that number is going to go up. He is one of the best shooters in the area. When we're talking three-point shooters, Jonah Rorig's name is definitely near the top. No question about that. Let's talk about some of your other returning guys. I want to talk about this guy at the top of my list right here. Only a sophomore this year, but played significant minutes. And his calm demeanor, incredible. Tyler Schwalbach played like he was a junior and maybe even older than that last year. His composure on the basketball court was phenomenal as a freshman playing in this conference. 4.5 points per game, but he really gave Coach Schalow and yourself some very valuable minutes. Talk about his role this year on the ball club.
His role is going to explode, I think, this year. We are really excited about Tyler. He's so explosive, not just on the offensive end, but defensively as a freshman last year in the FBA, as you mentioned. Oftentimes we had him guarding the other team's best player, and that's not an easy thing to do. And so he met that challenge and accepted it and did really well with it. And so, but this year and this past spring, summer, his ability to be able to score at all three levels, his confidence is growing, and we think the sky's the limit with him.
Yeah, I'm expecting a great season out of him as well. Let's talk about some other guys that played minimal minutes, but they still gave you some valuable time off the bench. And I like this little guy right here. He's undersized. We talk about him all the time on our broadcasts. Very energetic. Keegan Weinenberg. Talk about his game. He can just do a little bit of everything, but have you ever seen maybe a more feisty player than Keegan Weinenberg? I just love the way he plays.
No, we love the way he plays too. He's got a chip on his shoulder, and the way I describe Keegan is he's a winner. He makes all those plays that don't necessarily show up in box score, but he's making those plays that are allowing us to win games, and we're going to need that from him, and definitely his role is going to expand this year from last year. But you want to talk about the ultimate, team player and understanding role and trying to star in your role. Keegan does a really good job with that.
And then a name that will be familiar to a lot of people, the last name, Josh Carl. So Eric Carl, you just mentioned him earlier on your coaching staff, a state champion. So Josh Carl, he has kind of seen through his brother, right, how this program operates. But talk about him, a junior guard, and obviously going to be a valuable bench player this year for you guys.
Yeah, no, Josh he had a phenomenal offseason. I think the biggest thing I've seen with Josh is his intentionality with his time in the gym. When I'd be walking through and the way he's going about his workouts in the off season, he flipped the switch, and I know he's excited about this season and what his role can be. So, and we're excited about that as well.
Got a couple of guys here I want you to talk about, and they're both seniors, and they're both bigger bodies, guys that can push people around, get some loose balls, a rebound, play some solid defense. Aiden Bukowski, 6'3", Mike Hill, 6'1", but Mike Hill built like a football player, which he is. And I know he suffered through some injuries last year, played a lot of JV minutes over the last couple of years. But talk about Aiden and Mike Hill and how maybe they complement each other this year.
Yeah, they're definitely going to complement each other quite a bit this year. The reality is with both of them being seniors, and that's so important, is you have that senior urgency. And sometimes you don't always get that from your underclassmen. But they're going to have that this year, knowing that this is their last season to be able to go out there and compete and give everything they've got that way. So we're excited about that urgency showing through with both of them and being able to provide some positive minutes for this team.
And you look at this list of names, and there's a few on here that are going to be absolutely brand new, obviously kids coming up to the varsity level. But I want to talk about Cooper McMullen, because Brody McMullen played a big role over the last couple of years, but Cooper, watched him during the JV season quite a bit, and I've always been very impressed with him. Only 5'9", good ball handler, can shoot the ball. Talk about his development as he comes into this varsity program as a junior.
Yeah, we're excited to get him back healthy. He had a little bit of a knee injury during the football season, and I think it was just actually our last practice. He actually had his first full practice. So we're excited to see where he's at, bring him back up to full speed, and get going from there and be able to evaluate where Cooper's at this time.
I want to talk about the best golfer on your basketball team, by the way. I don't know if that matters so much. Oh, that's right. Wait a minute.
Jonah might have
Oh, I
something to
forgot
say.
about. Oh,
But
don't tell Jonah I said that.
Yeah.
I totally forgot. Jonah is a whale of a golfer himself. Yes.
Yes.
So maybe they could have a shootout. But his name is Bax Benson.
Yes.
Very good golfer. Going to be a junior. Not his number one sport, basketball, but just talk about his play.
Yeah, no, well, Bax and Jonah are cousins, actually. So,
well, there you go.
that has something to do with the two on the golf side of things. But Bax is a tremendous golfer. And what we love about Bax is we take 100 Bax Bensons because at the end of the day, kids are pulled in so many different directions. And, being a multi-sport kid is really difficult to do. And Bax is one of those guys that wants to be a part of something bigger than himself. And he brings great energy to practice every single day. And we're really proud to have Bax be part of this team this year.
Yeah, and another name, and I like this one because I thought Carson Awe was one of the more fun players to watch. Scrappy kid, could shoot it well. We have a Landon Awe on the ball club, a junior, and another sibling, and that's kind of how this thing works in high school athletics, right? You got that older sibling, and then here comes the young one. How valuable is that? Let's talk about Landon Awe and just his experiences watching his brother play, and they went head-to-head in the driveway, right?
Sure.
Multiple times. Talk about siblings a little bit since we're seeing some common names here.
Yeah, it's pretty unique to see that, with Josh Carl being on the team and his brothers being our freshman coach, and then you got, Bax Benson and Jonah being cousins, and then now you got Landon and Cooper that their brothers played with us prior to. And what's great about that is the understanding expectation of what this program is and what it represents. Yeah. And Landon Awe couldn't be a better representation of that. He's a phenomenal young man. He does a really great job in the classroom. Everybody on the team loves him. He's such a great guy to him. And what we need from him is just like his brother, be able to stretch the floor, catch and shoot three. He has that ability in him. And just for us as a coaching staff to keep instilling that confidence within him to do that is going to be what it's going to take this year for Landon.
Yeah, more new names. A couple of juniors. Elijah Auclair. I like this number, 6-8.
Yeah.
As in 6'8". Talk about him, his size, what kind of athleticism, what kind of ball player, post-up guy, face-up guy. Talk about him a little bit.
Yeah, with Elijah, he just started playing basketball really in his freshman year of high school, which is incredible to see where he is right now. And so we're really excited about him because, yes, he is only a junior. He does have Andrew in front of him, so minutes, knock on wood, won't be as much there for Elijah this year. But when they are, hopefully he's ready to go with that. We have visions of maybe getting him some extra reps, maybe at the JV1 level this year, just to continue to grow his skill set so that he can be ready to roll his senior year in a bigger role. But you're right, you can't replace that kind of size. And Elijah's, he's pushing probably 6'9". He's close to Andrew right now. He's developed quite a bit. We're pretty proud of him for that.
Could be a good twin tower look. We saw Caden Graff last year with Andrew Jensen, of course, and John O'Neill a couple of years prior to that. So you've had the twin tower look in the past. Let's talk about another junior, Nolan Lotzer, 6'1". I'm assuming a lot of JV time last year for him as well to prep, and he'll probably still get some JV moments this year, I'm assuming.
Well, Nolan's done a really good job so far here in practice. What we've liked most is he's been pretty consistent knocking down the three in practice, which we're excited about.
Yeah.
Just continue to help grow his overall knowledge and ability within the game and how he can play within the group. And we love his energy he's bringing every day to practice right now. And so we're looking forward to seeing his growth continue to go in the right direction.
Last junior on the list, Eli Mitchell. Talk about his ball game a little bit.
Eli Mitchell, very similar with like a Bax Benson in regards to wanting to be a part of something bigger than himself. He's a great kid, shows up, does everything. He's always there in all of our off-season stuff, and he'll probably get quite a few minutes with JV1 this year. But I'm really excited to have somebody like that represent our program and be a part of our varsity team this year.
And a young sophomore player by the name of Cam Catlin.
Yeah, Cam and Elijah are kind of in the same boat. Cam, is 6'7", 6'8" as well, and they're behind Andrew in that position there. I envision Cam like Elijah playing some JV to continue to grow his skill set, but yet still having that varsity uniform to be called upon when needed at any time. we're excited about what he can be, being only a sophomore, and his role, changing dramatically, next year and the 2 years to come from now. So,
Well, last but not least, might be the most difficult player to coach because it's your son, Drew Bowers, a freshman.
yeah,
Talk about the dynamic, because I've been there at youth level trying to tell my son to do something on the basketball court. Not the most easy thing to do, coaching your own child, but talk about the challenges of it. And this is varsity basketball, so dad's in charge, right? But there's all that dynamic going on between father and son sometimes. Talk
Yeah.
about coaching your son and the challenges of it, really.
Well, you could look at it as being a challenge, but I try to flip it the other way, and it's a pretty unique and special opportunity to be able to do that and be a part of some times that if I wasn't a coach and he was just part of the team, I wouldn't be able to see him in those different dynamics and atmospheres at school. So it's kind of like I'm stealing some time there and being able to be around him more so than if I wouldn't have been coaching, or maybe he wasn't playing and I'm coaching. But with that, in terms of coaching, you lean upon your Coach Van Wettering's our head assistant varsity coach, and him and I had a conversation, just the idea that, hey, he's all yours. You coach him up, and we can talk there and try to allow Drew to have his space and be the person and player he wants to be without feeling like he's got dad constantly looking at him. Because at the end of the day, we got a group of guys here and 5 seniors that we want to make sure that their senior year is the best it can be, and so that's what this is all about.
Yeah, what a roster. I like the makeup of it. The new blood should be interesting. This FVA is just a torture test, right? I mean, you start off on December 4th. Coming up on Thursday, it'll be Appleton West, and obviously that's a team that's been struggling there at the bottom of the conference. But really, outside of that, the rest of this conference is always just so very difficult. But we'll have that game, by the way, on Sports Faith YouTube TV, December 4th. That's coming Thursday. And you can catch the games this year. All home games will be on the Huddle TV feed as well, that you can get through the Kaukauna website. So be looking for that. We'll have 2 different feeds going on at the same time. So it should be a great season. No question about that. Let's get into this conference a little bit and talk about some of the talent. Now, one thing that's changed this year is Fond du Lac. Nick Ford has moved on to Dominican, and the Cardinals had a really nice year last year. They finished second behind your Ghost team, but maybe we start there and work our way down, talk about the conference and the difficulty of it, and then how maybe you see it. Not trying to get predictions here, obviously. It's very difficult to figure this all out with all the talent and teams, but talk about the conference as a whole.
Well, first of all, it's the FVA. So having been a part of it as a player and now, coaching for the last 16 years in it as well, if you're not prepared every single night, you're probably going to get bumped. And so you can't overlook anybody. And so knowing that, it makes it a lot of fun. I mean, that's what we like doing, being a part of competition and competing and being at your best when you can. At the end of the day, you got Appleton North, I think, has got a really good group this year. They got their senior dominant led team. They got 4 college level guards that can play at a really high level, and some other pieces go around those guys. And so I think that looking at the season, I would predict that that's the team to beat in the league this year. You get Nina is always a tough out because they got a really strong junior class this year, and to go with a couple really good senior pieces. And obviously Coach Ravis does a good job getting his group prepared, ready to play, and they get better as the year goes on every year. And then the group that I think that some people might overlook a little bit is Oshkosh North, because everybody talks, Xavion's gone. Well, I saw them this summer, and they've got some guys that can play. They got a scholarship kid there too, and actually I think they got a few college level players. But they play gritty, they play tough, and they're always right there in it too. And then where it shakes out from there, I'm not real sure, but those would be 3 teams that pop off the top of my head real quick in regards to the conference going into the season.
And those teams all have one thing in common: long tenured coaches. Coach Ravis, my goodness, been to state multiple times. We know about Coach Weber, state championship back in 2018, as you guys did in 18 and 16. But just a fun conference to cover. Tons of talent. You talked about Xavion Mitchell. Don't be surprised if he's in the NBA someday, as we kind of maybe saw a guy by the name of Halliburton that was pretty good, that plays for the Pacers now. But anyway, should be a great season, obviously. Always a lot of fun. visiting with head coach Ryan Bowers in his first year as head coach here at Kaukauna, in the Kaukauna team room, by the way. So you see the background. We got pictures. We got former conference championship teams on the wall behind us, state championship teams. And I know you want to add even more victories, right, and success to the walls of this team room as we sit here and do our third Justapod. So I want to thank Coach Bowers for joining us. But we're going to finish with this. A little bit of fun. I got Culver's with a big circle around it with a question mark behind it. So if anybody follows your team on social media, they might notice something like frequent visits to Culver's. Ding, 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 ding.
Mm-hmm.
They just got the free plug. Talk about the team going to Culver's, win or lose, correct, after the game? Or is it more often just after wins?
It typically more wins than losses, I
Right.
would say, yes.
But give us the Culver story. Why do the Ghosts end up at quite a few Culvers on the road and at home or whatever? Mostly on the road, I guess.
Way back when I played, Brian Repke, who's our director of basketball operations of our hoops club, his mom would bake a box full of cookies. So when we were on the road and we get back on the bus to head back home from wherever we were playing, guys would get 4 or 5 cookies to eat on the way home. Yep. And so every tradition kind of has to come to an end at some point. When that tradition ended, the Culvers started, and I can't quite remember exactly what year that was, but yes, that's kind of been the way it's been.
Yeah. So, well, they do serve a great product. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. Okay. Butter burgers and all the other stuff. But yeah, that one I had to ask you about because I noticed it a couple of years on social media, but I never really asked anybody about it. So great to get behind that story a little bit. Lastly, thoughts on the season, just a couple of key things. What are you going to look for early, especially against an Appleton West team that has struggled mightily? But how do you look at these first few games? Obviously, you got to figure out your rotation and things, but give us a little preview of things you're going to be looking for, not only on Thursday night in the opener, but just early on in the season. Some maybe keys to the season early on for you guys.
Well, big thing is just taking what we're doing on the floor and does it transfer to the court?
Yep.
And do we keep the same energy level that we've had in practice on game night? And I know that it doesn't matter what team you have, who you are, that first game night, that first time that ball tips, guys, a little nervous, just settling into the season that way. But at the end of the day, can we control the glass, and can we control transition defense, make teams have to score, through 5 rather than get easy ones down there? And then obviously on the offensive end, make the right read, make the easy play, and let's try to be as efficient as possible.
Awesome job, by the way. This has been a lot of fun visiting with head coach Ryan Bowers here. First year at Kaukauna, first time in 30 years, brand new coach, and we want to thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure speaking with you and just getting a background on your roster and just what your thoughts are on this first season on the bench as the head man. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, that's head coach Ryan Bowers here at Kaukauna High School, and we will have episode number 4 up next. It's going to be Nate Rickel from Bayport, and that's going to be followed up by Todd Deshane from West Pier as the Phantoms move into the Fox River Classic Conference. So we got a couple of good ones coming up, and we'll have all 10 Kaukauna boys home games, on YouTube on the Sports Face side, and then we're also going to broadcast on Huddle TV right through the Kaukauna Athletic website as well. So it should be a great season. Thanks, Coach, for joining me once again. And until next time, my name is Craig Bowen. We'll talk to you down the road. Have a great rest of the week, everybody. We'll talk to Nate Rickel coming up on Tuesday of next week. So look for that pod to be put out on Spotify and also on the Just a Game website, along with the Just a Game YouTube channel as well. Thanks again, everybody, and take care.